Antoine, what are we doing today? Proportions, right? 4.3 proportions. And what is our I can statement telling us, Cyrus? I can solve proportions. All right, what is a proportion? Yusuf, what is a proportion? Two fractions that are equivalent. You guys, you girls, can you have a proportion with only one fraction? Yes or no?
No.
Proportions must have how many fractions? Two. Could somebody raise their hand and tell me the name, another name for a fraction? A fancy name for a fraction, Tristan. So a ratio is the same as a fraction. Yes or no, you guys?
Yes.
A ratio is the same as a fraction. They mean the exact same thing. Okay? So then what does a ratio or a fraction do? Caden, what does a ratio or a fraction do? What does a ratio or fraction do? What is their job in the world? So what does a ratio or a fraction do?
A ratio compares two quantities.
It compares two quantities. So if we ordered this is the example I think I use for all groups. If we ordered a pizza, and the pizza was sliced into 8 pieces, and Tristan ate one of these pieces, we're going to say Tristan ate 1/8 of the pizza, right? 1 represents the number of pieces Tristan ate. The 8 represents the number of pieces that were in the pizza. Therefore, are we comparing two quantities? The number 1, what Tristan ate, over the number 8, the total amount? Yes or no?
Yes.
So that's what a fraction or a ratio does. Yes or no?
Yes.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, go. Okay. So a proportion and ratio are the same thing. Yes or no? Okay. Proportions are two fractions that mean the same thing. So the example here is, if you have the fraction 1/2 and you have the fraction 5/10, are they equal to one another?
Yes.
Therefore, we say they are proportionate. Everyone say proportionate.
Proportionate.
Two fractions that mean the same thing, repeat,
Two fractions that mean the same thing
are proportionate.
proportionate.
Thank you for raising your voice at the end like I did. All right, let's move down to the examples. Number 7. Woo, stop. I think most of you or all of you have this exact same one. I think you use it for all of the notes. First of all, we said write a proportion for 1/2. Is there more than one answer?
Yes.
Could you have a ton of different answers?
Yes.
I think we use the word infinite. There's an infinite amount of answers. 1/2 is equal to 3/6. This would be an example of a proportion because we have two fractions equal to one another. And a whole bunch of other answers include what? What else could you include for 1/2 equals? Give me some numbers. Antoine. 10/5? 5/10, Antoine says. Give me another fraction that is proportionate to 1/2, Kennedy.
50/100.
50 over 100. Josh.
500,000.
500 over 1,000. Beautiful. This is fun. Kaylee.
2/4.
2/4 is good. We go on and on. Now, look at number A, or look at letter A, not number A. This is how we started off. We started off with 1/2 is equal to 6 over x. And we had to figure out what x was, right? And you guys all told me that Mrs. Steg's bubble over here is what we should use. And you told me that, well, Mr. Pottinger, to get from 1 to 6, we would need to multiply by 6. Yes or no?
Yes.
So we knew that to go from 1 to 6, you multiply by 6. So in order to go from 2 to x, we don't know what x is, right?
No.
So we're going to multiply by what?
6.
6, because whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the...
Bottom.
And all of you can tell me that 6 times 2 is what?
12.
And so what's your answer?
12.
X equals 12, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, how about letter B? Same concept. There's your bubble. We went from 9 to 18. You know that you multiply by 2. Therefore, we're going to multiply the top by 2 as well and get what?
4.
4. Okay, now this one gets tricky. Letter C. We went from 6 over 36 to 1 over x. So in this situation, Antoine, we went from a big fraction to a smaller fraction. And in order to go from 6 to 1, what do you do, everybody?
Divide.
Divide by
6.
6. So what are we going to divide 36 by?
6.
And what is 36 divided by 6?
6.
6. Now, I did show another way of looking at this problem. Take a look at this. So if I have the same problem, 636 equals 1 over x, could you put your multiplication bubble over here and just go this way? So we know that 1 times what is 6? 6. It gets a little tricky though, because then you know that 6 times something is 36. What is that something?
6.
6. You're kind of filling in the blank, right? So therefore, you could go that way too if you want. Either way works for me. Okay? And I'm going to stop right there. Are there any questions? Kennedy.
I wrote this down when we were doing this. Can you have more than 2 sets of numbers when proportions?
Portions can have more than 2, but you will not do anything beyond 2 for this year. Anything else? It's a great question. Those are the types of questions I love to hear.